So I wanted to do a video about the first carnivore, a gentleman by the name of Vince Gironda, who was a bodybuilder. And he was the first to implement a steak and eggs diet, where it was literally steak and eggs and water, the steak, eggs, and water diet. And this allowed him to achieve maximum muscle with minimum body fat. But he was not actually a true advocate of a carnivore diet. In fact, he even promoted a vegan diet rich in legumes and green vegetables and things of that nature to help people, in his words, purify or detoxify the body. Um, but the thing is, I think this guy is the guy that a lot of these carnivores are biting off of. And I saw a Frank Tufano video, and I actually agreed with him on it, and he was wondering why so many vegans attacked him instead of other carnivores. And the fact of the matter is, other carnivores have not attacked the vegan community as bad as Frank Tufano has. And the thing is, Vince Gironda here, or Gironda, I don't really know how to say his name properly, but the gentleman, he would prescribe diets that were based on the person's goals. The goal was not longevity. And there is a woman, a doctor by the name of Gabrielle Lyon, who practices what she calls muscle-centric medicine. And I agree with her a lot about the role of lean muscle in promoting longevity, which is why, and I'm going to get into it in a later video dedicated to branched-chain amino acids, but which is why I'm a fan of not limiting leucine or isoleucine or valine or any of the branched-chain amino acids. But the thing is, these people, and Gabrielle Lyon is similar to Frank Tufano, it's almost like they get off on trying to make it seem like you can't maintain healthy muscle mass on a vegan diet, and that's just not the case. The fact of the matter is, you can get adequate and even superior muscle building nutrition through the use of supplementation and the use of a very healthy diet. Now, people like to go, oh, well, supplementing is bad for you and you shouldn't supplement. If you need to take supplements, your diet sucks. And many of these same people are taking multiple supplements. Okay, so that's the problem with that analogy. The other problem is the analogy that you can't, that a vegan diet isn't natural. No crap, a vegan diet isn't natural. But a carnivorous diet is not natural for humans either. Humans are naturally plant-centered omnivores, meaning we don't eat necessarily all plants, but most of the time, if you look at humans in a state of nature, the majority of their diet, unless inhibited by the environment, is plants. Naturally, they eat a whole bunch of plants and some meats and fish and insects and things of that nature. Now, what's natural is not really necessarily what's good, and I like to give an example with this. I have two cats, and my one cat got quite obese on Blue Buffalo, which is a brand of cat food which is grain-free, and meat. It's basically just meat, and there's some fruit and crap in there that shouldn't be in there. But the fact of the matter is, it's a diet more similar to the diet of a lynx or a wild cat. And she got quite obese on that diet. Now, what brought her back down to a healthy, actually slightly underweight, healthy feline? Well, it was IAMS. It was IAMS weight control, which is, it has corn in it, it has all sorts of stuff in it, but it's also supplemented properly with different nutrients, and it has carnitine in it. Now, carnitine is an important amino acid for burning body fat, and that's in there, so that helped her maintain a healthy weight as she got older. Also, what you need to understand is we do not live under the demands of nature anymore, for better or worse. Most ways this is worse, in some ways it's better. But the same people that are saying that a vegan diet isn't natural, and neither is a carnivorous diet, but neither is living in a house, neither is driving a car, neither is flying on an airplane, neither is a lot of things. So a lot of things are not natural for humanity that we do anyway, because honestly, a lot of times we're living longer, we're doing better. But the other thing is, that with proper supplementation, you can get adequate and actually superior nutrition. But what is your goal? Is your goal to be, as Vince Gironda, the most muscular man in the world, or is it to live longer and healthier? And we know certain things now, and this is why people like Gabrielle Lyon are irresponsible, in the sense that we know that eating meat and eggs shortens lifespan. And Vince Gironda himself, now he didn't die at an early age. He was, I believe, in his late 70s, he passed away of heart failure. But he's not a long liver. He's not somebody living to 100 plus years old on a meat and eggs diet, okay? He just isn't. Now, about muscle-centric health, like Gabrielle Lyon points out, yeah, muscle is extremely important to health. And like she points out, it is basically an endocrine organ with how it helps maintain weight and things like that. But the fact of the matter is, if muscle were the only thing that mattered, you could put people on a moderate protein diet, juice them up with steroids, and they'd be fine. But the fact of the matter is, we know that steroids are bad for you because of what they do. We know things now. And of these things, we definitely know that meat and eggs and dairy shorten human lifespan. Okay, we know this from epidemiological studies, and we know this from laboratory studies. In animals, we know that animals do not do good, omnivorous animals do not do good on a meat-centered diet. And like I said, with my cat, cats are oblique carnivores. Actually, she jumped up next to me right now. There she is. Cats are carnivores, but my cat thrived on an omnivorous diet, properly supplemented with, with the right stuff, with the right nutrients, and with carnitine to help her maintain proper body mass. Now, I'm also not a fan of a lot of these vegans, and I made the same mistake. I actually did try to stick to a low-fat, low-protein diet for a couple years, and it did not do well by me. Okay, and that's why I had to go back to a very well, not a high protein, it's higher protein, moderate fat, moderate carbohydrate diet, basically a vegan omnivore diet, simply because the starch-based diets, these low-protein diets, they're protein inadequate, they're protein deficient. And I was just as bad as many of the carnivores. I was saying, this is how you want to eat because this is blah, 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 blah. And yeah, there's research to support that, but what we need to understand is that the research shows eating meat is bad for you. So how can we replace meat in the human diet in a way that helps control certain amino acids like methionine and help control certain other things that we don't necessarily want in our diet, such as saturated fat, cholesterol, and how can we replace that with monounsaturated fat? Well, the way is that we supplement and we eat certain foods that have these things in them, like olive oil. And that's what I wanted to say, because I think Vince Gironda is obviously the dude that these carnivores are mimicking. Now, if you want to look like Vince Gironda, eat a high-protein diet and work out like Vince did. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now, he is right. Bodybuilding probably is about 80%. I think he said 80% nutrition and 20% working out in the gym. That's probably an accurate description of anything. But the fact of the matter is, we know a hell of a lot more about nutrition now than we did in Vince Gironda's day. And that's the whole thing. And we know that a steak and eggs diet is not going to take you over the centenarian threshold. So if your goal is life extension, is a long, healthy, fruitful life, then you really need to consider maybe a carnivore diet is not the proper diet to do that. And it just, when I saw Frank's video, I mean, the sad thing about Frank, I don't think Frank understands why people are pissed off at him. You know, like when you dress up like when you dress up like an effeminate dude and say, this is how vegans are, and that's not how vegans are. But when you dress up like that and you start talking like this and saying, I'm a vegan and I'm going to eat a day of feed and blah, blah, blah. You know, this is the crap that pisses people off. It also pisses people off when you like to, it's almost like you like to rub in the face with, by not looking at all the evidence, that you think the only way to maintain a healthy musculature is to eat nothing but meat. That's really not true. Also, what's funny is Gironda, because he was fat adapted, was able to put on a sizable chunk of muscle. He was a very muscular dude. Not a very big dude, not mass-wise, but muscularity and definition. He appeared very big. I think his, what he said his best weight was at 175 pounds. But the thing is, most people, to maintain muscle, they need carbohydrate. In fact, somebody in a comment section of one of my videos was amazed. I really did put on 65 pounds of muscle on the starch solution. Now, I wasn't really on the starch solution in the sense that I was supplementing with creatine and branched-chain amino acids, but the fact of the matter is, I did put on 65 pounds of muscle on a predominantly starch diet. I wanted to see if it would work, and it did. McDougall said you can build a lot of muscle on starch. I didn't believe it. Okay, it defies logic. However, what I did find out, and why I have to get my weight under control now, is when I couldn't work out 4 or 5 or 6 hours a day, and I really was, and that's the thing, is a lot of these people don't grasp. There's a lot of exercise involved in maintaining a physique. So when I could no longer work out 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and I had to cut it down to an hour a day, and I was still eating nothing but starch, and I was eating, potatoes and sweet potatoes, which I still eat, just a hell of a lot less of them, I put on weight very quickly, and I was only eating about 2,500 calories, at the most 3,000 calories. But when I was working out so much, I quickly burnt that. Now, I already know that you can lose weight on a 3,000 calorie ketogenic diet because I did it. I was on the Atkins diet as a teenager, and I dropped literally about 150 pounds over the course of a year by eating nothing but vegetables and meat, okay? So that's true. So there is a metabolic benefit to a low-carb diet, but do you really have to go fully into ketosis? Probably not, but you need to keep the macros in check. You don't want to go too high on the carbohydrates. What I found with me is carbs at the rate of the protein, about 1 gram per pound of body weight. And this is what other people need to understand. When you're eating protein at 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're not eating protein. If you're overweight, if you're 219 pounds, like I was when I had to cut my weight, I'm down to about 180 pounds now. I'm trying to get down to 165, 170. But you're not eating protein. So if I want to weigh 175 pounds and I'm 219 pounds, I'm not eating 219 grams of protein. I'm eating 275 grams of protein. But obviously that's a very hard goal to reach, so I get probably between 150 and 175 depending on the days, depending on how much I'm supplementing. And that's hard to get whether you're following an omnivorous diet or a vegan diet. That's not an easy number to reach. Too many people don't grasp that. These high protein diets, the high level of protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, is not easy to reach even on a meat-centered diet. And meat has a hell of a lot less protein per serving than pea protein. And that's all for this video.